Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a few weeks since the last video because I had to go to America and pick up some extra parts. Now, little quandary regarding the ROUTE66 heads. In the advert they said you need a different manifold because the new heads are 300 thou higher with raised ports. Well, I'm afraid it's a lot more serious than that. Here's the old manifold, slightly dirty, and you will see the new manifold is considerably narrower because it's actually for a 351, not a 400. So to make up the gap, they've had to use these huge, heavy, but beautifully made spacers, and they are heavy. So you're paying a bit of a weight penalty, and unfortunately, because they're CNC made, you're paying a tremendous financial penalty. Those two spacers actually cost more than the whole manifold, the whole new manifold. And because of the way it's done, you can't use the original gasket system. You have to have this incredibly heavy plate to block off the oil to stop it splashing out onto the road. This just happens to be a new water inlet or outlet, whichever way you look at it. The old one was rusty, so that was quite horrible. So the $960 heads are actually causing probably $1,600–1,700 to be spent, and it also means that unless you have a 400, these parts are not really resaleable to anybody else. Anyway, that's life. Let's hope it's all worth it and the car goes incredibly well. Anyway, over to the other side of the garage. Just taken the gearbox out, C6. Heavy old devil, as you can imagine, especially when you're working on your own. That's about to have a rebuild starting this afternoon and probably being finished tomorrow. Engine, or the block part of the engine, is now back together, and since I last spoke I have rebuilt it with all the new parts, and out of interest, after the pistons and conrods were cleaned, I bought a set of very accurate scales and weighed them to see if there was any weight difference, and despite the fact they're very heavy, 1.6 something kilos, between all 8 there was less than 4 grams weight difference, which is, for a mass-produced engine, I think is fantastically good. Moving around the corner, here are the old and horrible rear gearbox mountings. I couldn't get them quickly enough for my tour of Europe last year, so I had to support them with these bits of rubber. That revolting mess is what I took off. Here's what a brand new clean one should look like. So obviously the new ones are going back on. Going further back, this is the gearbox support. Now, it's not from the Mustang, it's actually from the Lincoln, where the engine and gearbox came from. The part I just showed you, or 2 of them, bolt into there. But here, the Lincoln has got these slide bolt fixings, and luckily the gap between the Mustang chassis is exactly right that those can be used again. Pure stroke of luck. And finally, while we're in this corner, brand new prop shaft that was specially made by the prop shaft people in Pyle, South Wales. You'll find them on the internet if you need a prop shaft made or balanced or modified, etc. And that's about it. Oh, that's just the torque converter. Took it out, keeping it clean, obviously. Well, that's it. I think it's time to rip the gearbox apart, see what worn parts are in there and replace them. Okay, we'll catch you in the next video. Bye bye.